At 38 years old, I gave myself 18 months to learn how to ride motocross and to get into the best shape of my life in order to compete in Transworld's Ultimate Amateur Series. From the motocross mecca that is Southern California, I'm a year into that journey, and I'm finally beginning my racing career as a true beginner. I'm talking a straight up squid lapper. I couldn't tell you anything about motocross except that it's more like chess than checkers, even with all of the jumping. It's a motocross guide for dummies. It's the Rookie meets Rad, but it's about motocross and not BMX, and it's nothing like Nitro Circus because I still have absolutely no idea what the hell I'm doing. This is simply about what it takes for one man having a midlife crisis to prepare for competitive racing. So the question is, will this jackass make the gate at Washougal, or will I end up in a body cast? This is MX Yoga. Before we get started, it needs to be acknowledged that motocross is an inherently dangerous sport, like stupid dangerous. This is more of an example of what not to do, so please do not attempt anything that you see in this video unless you have professional instruction or on a closed course and are willing to get heckled by little kids. Jumping into another episode, and we pick up right where we left off, putting stickers on the bike, and working simultaneously on steps 19 through 23. Now, according to Reiki Raley, the easiest way to pick up 8 to 10 seconds was to put custom graphics on the bike. So, that led to step number 24, slap on some sick stickers. Was made possible thanks to Eli over at Red Label MX. And voila, presto, magnifico. Boom, I'm faster. But that's really left to be seen, because the new graphics on the new plastics almost look too nice to even ride. It's beautiful. But we do have to test the theory. This is, after all, nothing but a grand experiment to begin with. And right when I think things are starting to make a little bit of sense physically and mentally, I get T-boned by something we're all going to experience and none of us will ever be prepared for.
So I just heard from my dad. My mom's in the hospital. It's too late tonight, but me and my wife are going to head down in the morning and see what's going on.
My mom has suffered from Parkinson's for over 20 years and it's finally taken its toll. And I'm blessed to have the support system I do with my wife and her family, but the only thing that's keeping my head from spinning is the ability to go out and deal with the frustration of this unbound uncertainty.
I'm actually working more in turning.
Yeah, cornering. As my mom would not want me to quit living my life, I decide for the sake of my sanity in the midst of all the back and forth that I'm going to line up for round 4, day 84. It's going to be 105 and for some odd reason I'm going to run 2 classes. I don't really have any expectations for this other than I hope I don't kill myself. I've been so amped up over the last couple weeks that I'm afraid I'm just going to be this blast of nervous, frustrated energy that ends up in a dusty, tangled mess. Dave's in town and he's racing with the intermediates, and I have my good friends Jim and Colin coming from LA and Ventura who are coming to hang out and watch. So I'm hoping for some good time with some great friends, and hopefully I can stay grounded enough to get through it. Honestly, I don't really remember much until about halfway through the lap when I realized I had back-to-back motos and I needed to conserve some energy. And that led to the monumental mistake of looking back. Once I became concerned with what was behind me, I totally lost focus on what was in front of me. And in this sport, that's a dangerous thing. I'll dust myself off later. Right now, I have to fight over this wall. Again. Frustrating part is this wall I'm up against is a wall I created. It's almost as if psychologically I'm putting myself up against the wall, so I have to fight to get it back. And while that's the only way I've learned to turn it on up until this point, it's never going to be a winning strategy. It's only proving to be an act of frustrating futility. And then coming in hot in the downhill section, my rear brakes went out and I ended up having to roll off. And then to double down, I almost slid out trying to get back on track. I'm a mess. I'm not even through the first moto and I'm already starting to cramp out and I'm gassed. And with 106 on the mercury, hydration is super important, paramount even. Last thing I need right now is for me to end up in the hospital with dehydration, exposure, or even worse. And I know I didn't prepare for this race the way I should have with everything going on.
If your mind is somewhere else, then pick your ass up and take it over there and keep it company. I'm not having my time wasted by some half-ass fish cake opponent today. This ain't checkers.
The next 3 moves are simple. The first move is twofold. I'm going to blow off Moto 1 of beginner 450. I've got to get these rear brakes checked out and I got to get this cramp rubbed out. And with only 2 guys in class, it doesn't matter anyways. It's just going to wear me down from running in the bigger 30 plus vet beginner class, which I'm running in series. So this goes down as my first DNS and I'm going to focus on Moto 2. The second part was just kind of added after the fact because I found out that producer Jim is also a trained massage therapist.
You serious, Clark?
So with the few learned exercises, I have essentially cleansed my body of all the built up lactic acid and I feel like 100%. Of course, I'm pissing like a racehorse every 15 minutes, but that's a good thing. Now that I can think, the second move in my string of chest moves is to not be the burst of energy out of the gate. I'm going to let somebody else run the pace and then I'm going to apply the pressure and try and force the mistake rather than be one. And the third move is threefold. I need to take a deep breath, have fun, and realize that just being out here is a gift that's not guaranteed. The rest will work itself out. And it's the number 38 of my buddy Matthew Trussell with the whole shot, and we'll see if I can climb behind him and add a little pressure. Well, I never really made it close, but I did run at a high enough pace that I was able to dial it back in the final laps to save some energy for Moto 2 at Beginner 450. Moto 2 was pretty much over before it started, but I did push myself to a higher place, and for a few hours mentally and emotionally, I had some peace. I didn't have any more answers than I had when I started, but I was at least able to accept it moving forward. I'm just thankful for this outlet. Motocross has become my heavy bag the last few weeks, and in a way, an ability to pound out my emotions and deal with them in a slightly more constructive way than I have in the past. My mom has been put on hospice, so I now know that my time with her, like all of our time together, is fleeting. All I can really do at this point is take the time to spend as much time as I can with her. For now, I leave you with a quote, a Bible verse, and a song lyric. Buy the ticket, take the ride. And if it occasionally gets a little heavier than what you had in mind, well, maybe chalk it up to forced consciousness expansion. Tune in, freak out, get beaten. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. And you don't know what you got till it's gone. Till the next one, we wish you peace and love.